Okay, so we'll do the sadhana, which it says, you know, short Vajrasattva meditation. So if you do what we did just before, if you do that before your sadhanas, and usually here also it says it has a few of these points, then it makes the sadhana really powerful because you have the right motivation, okay? So it doesn't mean you're doing the sadhana, you have to think about renunciation and bodhicitta and emptiness, but it's in the mind. So then it becomes very, very powerful. Okay, so we start page 5. Again, the visualization, I will just read through it. You try to visualize as best as you can. You do have a picture, which is Vajrasattva. Everybody has it? Okay. Can we have 2 more here? Oh, yeah, just take that one. Yeah. Just take that one. And for those who were not here yesterday, this is a tanka that belongs to the Dalai Lama. And I had a photograph of it, like an A4 copy of it, a photograph, which I had next to me when I was doing the Vajrasattva retreat for 3 months in Tushita. And I found it very helpful because it is very kind of, you know, the expression on the faces is very, very blissful. And it seems like it's very, I really liked it. This is why I usually kind of give it to people also. And then you can take it home. Why it is like sometimes you have, again for the people who were not here yesterday, sometimes you have Vajrasattva just, you know, like you have this, is he with the concert also? No, he's not. Yeah? He's alone. So it's just Vajrasattva like this. Or sometimes you have Vajrasattva with the consort. Here also it's a single Vajrasattva and here is with the consort because the visualization here is with the consort. And when it's, so you can, sometimes with these things you can recognize if it's highest Yoga Tantra or if it's Kriya Tantra. Like for example, if you see a picture of Tara, if Tara has 2 flowers, it's Chittamani Tara, so that visualization goes especially when you work with your chakras. Yeah, the taras are kind of sitting on these chakra wheels. And if she has 1 flower, then it's Kriya Tantra. Here, Vajrasattva, if he is in union, as one says, or Yabhyum, then it's highest Yoga Tantra, and if it is a solitary one, then it's Kriya Tantra. Lama Yeshe, he gave, he said, from the beginning, people should do the visualization with Yabhyum, because then they also purify their tantric vows, because you purify broken vows by doing this practice. And so many people say, but I don't have any vows. So, but not in this life, but what about previous lives? You must have had, I mean, from the karma point of view, one would say, you must have practiced these things before, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here. Yeah. So this is why. So you must have had tantric vows before, you broke them, bodhisattva vows, pratimoksha vows, because don't forget, we exist since beginningless times. So that's why, yeah?
Isn't there a scenario where a person practices Dharma for the first lifetime?
Is there a first lifetime?
Oh, right. It's endless.
Yeah. So there's no beginning. I think, Einat, this would be, there is a few questions that the Buddha did not answer. And I think this would be one of them. Because one of the questions, or 2 questions, was, will samsara end? And will samsara not end? And so he would say to whoever, you know, that he always addresses the people with their name. When they ask a question, he would say, I don't know who asked the name. He would say, if I give you this answer, it will not help you to understand the First Noble Truth of suffering. It will not help you to understand the causes for the suffering. It will not help you to understand the cessation of the suffering, and it will not help you to understand the path to be free from suffering. So you don't need to know. Because otherwise, you know, if you say yes or no, then it makes it very solid again. So it's either non-existent or it is existent. So when you look, for example, Chandrakirti's Key to the Middle Way, it's the whole text is about emptiness, and about the, you know, the 10 bhumis of a bodhisattvas, like with the perfections. On each bhumi you perfect another perfection. So he he doesn't have a view, Chandrakirti. He just destroys the view of all the other people. Because the moment you have a view, again you have dualism. Because if it is that, there's also something that it is not. And then again you have dualism. So this is why also on the path, when you go in steps, like you do the easier things first. So you go, first they say you give up negative actions. The 10 negative actions that we're going to purify here. You give them up as much as you can. That's the easiest. Yeah. Then well, it's still, yeah, but compared to understanding emptiness, not lying and not stealing, that's much easier. Yeah. So that's how you start. You start giving up negative actions, not doing them. Then you start to work with the emotions, because your life becomes much more less chaotic, let's say, because you don't have all this negative karma ripening. So your life becomes very conducive to be able to practice. Yeah. So you give up, or you give up negative emotions, especially attachment and anger. And once you have that, and you have like shamatha, calm abiding and all this, then you have to give up all views. So same as the Buddha says, my teachings are not true. You know? Whom are we following here?
Ultimately.
But, there's a but, yeah? They lead to truth. The truth of nothing exists from its own side. The truth, there is no experiencer and something outside being experienced. Experiencer and experience is one. And that, when you look at the nature of your mind, and when you, I just know this from books, it's not that I'm able to do that, but I'm sure when you start to understand that the experiencer and what is experienced is one, then this whole dualistic thinking falls apart. And then, of course, the big question is, but then what does exist? What will such a person see? Then also these questions are not answered because we cannot understand. The same way, if you would have given a mobile phone to somebody 500 years ago, even the best scientist, he would not have understood what's going on. It was too difficult because there was no electricity and no this and no that. And even if he would have explained, press this button, and they would not have understood what this is all about.
Why do you need this? Yeah.
Because they were not used to these concepts.
They want to understand why do you need a mobile phone in the first place.
No, you're missing the point. I'm saying, trying to understand what the Buddha understands, for us, is not possible. The same way as, you can take electricity or whatever, the same way as a scientist from 500 years ago, he would not have been able to understand a mobile phone. You don't even have to go back. You don't even have to go back 500 years. When I was a kid, and people would tell us, in 60 years, then I was 10. In 60 years, you can look at people when you talk to them, and you don't need a cable. Do you think anybody would believe them? So.
When Marconi came up with the wave, nobody believed them, but they say that when Columbus arrived in the West Indies, the locals, the natives, didn't understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
The ships would sail.
Exactly. And this is how we create reality, because something is there. There's a very subtle basis somewhere. But like quantum physics, the possibilities for us to see something is there. But then we start to fill in, and then we start to grasp at it as if it is really existent. But to try to understand what emptiness and dependent arising is intellectually, it's only the first step. Even we can use all the arguments of the Prasangika and destroy all the views of the Vaibhashika, Sautrantika, and the Chittamatrin as a Madhyamika Prasangika scholar or a student or whatever. Even we can discuss it backward and forward, all the arguments. If you do not make the experience, nothing will change in your reality. Maybe a little bit in the reality, but that it becomes a bit less solid. But definitely you will still get angry if somebody steals your car or something like that. Even car is just a component of parts and particles. Yeah. So this is why, if you want to realize things here, you have to make the experience. Yeah. So, and then again, you know, we try the same thing we do with Tantra. We try to take these very subtle things into our very gross mind. So then, instead of just doing it and allowing the mind to become more subtle, and then we understand on a different level, we want to understand first what this is all about. Yeah, you see, people like Rita and Baby, yeah, also me, and more, I don't know how much you practice. People who practice a lot, these kinds of things, without needing to know everything, just sitting down and just doing it, then they know what this is all about. Only these people. You need to do it. Yeah? So what we're doing here, I'm just showing you a little bit how to do it. Then it's up to you whether you want to do it. Either you have interest and you do a guided retreat, like a group retreat, because many group retreats kind of happening all over the world, or you start doing the practice on your own at home, daily, something like that. Yeah. But if you don't, this is to be done. It's not really to be talked about. And we love to talk about things. Yeah. Because you know, our ego mind says, I'm not doing this until I know what this is. Yeah? So just calm your ego mind down and say, what is the harm if I do this without knowing what it is? Now I want to know. Well, what is the harm if I do it? You know, the worst thing that can happen is that nothing happens. And then you can say, waste of time. Gosh, how much time do we waste with much more stupid things and not helpful things than doing sadhanas like this with at least a good heart? Yeah? Okay, so like that. So, you try to visualize, if you can. On your right side is your father. The visualization I read, because sometimes I add something, and it's easier for you to visualize. If you read and try to visualize, impossible. But if you feel more comfortable of reading it, you read it, but not loud.
I'm open to the experience. So you're reading it and I'm sitting and visualizing it?
I find it, people find it the most helpful like this, me also. Because when I read, it's very difficult for me to visualize. But if you feel more comfortable reading it at the same time, you can also read it, but preferably not out loud, because we have different speeds. Then when it comes down to taking refuge, then this we say together. So you visualize on your right side is your father, and on your left side is your mother. Why these two people are there is because they are the most important people in our life. You know, I mean, in this life, whether you want it or not, they gave you this body. And it's the thing that we cherish most. This would be the thing that the mind would be most disturbed, is by losing it, by dying. And we call it my body. It's not your body. It's been given to us by our parents. And I know that some parents, they harm their children in a really bad way. Why? Because they're also confused. Maybe they come from the same situation. Maybe their parents have been like this to them. So it is, as a grown-up, it's really, especially as a spiritual Mahayana practitioner, it is really time to let go. To let them be, to wish them well, and not to dig it up again and again and again and again. So you look at you see your dad at your right side, your mom at your left side, and maybe you even, some positive thoughts. Thank you very much for giving me this body. And if your ego rebels, you just go, look, they also just want to be happy. They're even more confused than I am. Even more under the control of their negative emotions than I am. May they be well, may they be happy. May the positive potential for them, for giving me this body, and me practicing Dharma, may that positive potential be their benefit. May they have it. So we actually dedicate the practice to them. And then you think about all the other people that you put on the list also. I'm doing this not just for myself. I'm also doing this for all the other people. that I care for, that I like, that I have an open heart towards, and these people you put behind you. And now especially these people that you dislike or the people that you have harmed. Especially we put them in front, nearer to the Buddha. Why? Because now, again, you know, this is why. I wouldn't say that to people who don't know what Dharma is all about. People harming you, they make you practice patience. And on top of it, they bring to ripen your negative imprint. That would have ripened anyway at one point. And karma increases. The longer it stays on the mind, the bigger the result. So this is very, very, very high and difficult thinking. But this would be the Mahayana Buddhist thinking. It's very radical. So again, you don't have to do it. But if you want to call yourself a Mahayana Buddhist, this is the way you start to think. If you cannot accept your parents the way they are or have been, if you're not able to kind of separate the action from the person, the action is not good, but also the person is not bad. So when we think about these two people who have given us this body, most of the time, a lot of money to pay for our education, for our entertainment, for our sports when we were kids, for our food, for our clothes. And we just say thank you. May I be able to repay that kindness in a good way at one point and lead you to enlightenment. Wherever you are, may you be well and may you be happy. So you have the ones you're attached to, behind you. You have the ones that you don't like or who have harmed you in front of you. Because especially these people have such confused minds harming others. They need to make progress on this path. They need to become more peaceful, more loving, more wise, and be liberated from their negative emotions very, very quickly. So then you visualize your object of refuge. If you're used to visualize a merit field, like the Buddha in the middle, then the lineage lamas behind, and so on. I'm not going into the details because if people are not used to this, it just makes them confused. So if you are used to visualize a merit field, you visualize the merit field. Otherwise, you visualize just Shakyamuni Buddha, knowing he's the representative for a manifestation of all other Buddhas as well. If you have the merit field, all the other objects in the merit field are also Shakyamuni Buddha. So Shakyamuni Buddha, you know how he looks. You have a tanka just behind me. You make it three-dimensional, a body of light, emanating light. Emanating light, and especially, you know, when you start to visualize the Buddha, then it's not just a picture or a visualization. You put in there the love, the compassion, the wisdom of the Buddha. Limitless love, limitless compassion, limitless wisdom and limitless skillful means to guide us. This interest that the Buddhas have in us, like parents for their children, never giving up on us. So the more you can bring this visualization to life, the more you are convinced that the Buddha's energy is always there. Now, through the visualization, I give it a form. The more the Buddhas are able to reach us. Because if we see in them something kind of strange, exotic, not able to understand, they can't reach us. And then you mix that Shakyamuni Buddha with your living guru that you know. Because I can't see the rainbow body of Shakyamuni Buddha or the other Buddhas. If my mind would be purer when I see my guru, I would see the Buddha. But my mind is so solidified, it is so concrete, that I see a human being. But thanks to seeing a human being, thanks to seeing a guru, you see, other people could see this guru as their enemy. But me, I see it as my guru, so that person can then guide me because I'm open, because I give him the label guru. And I listen to what he or she says. I follow instructions. I see the qualities of a guru. I see with this practice how a human being can become. So we make contact with that object of refuge. And when we take refuge, it's the mind of fear or being fed up to be under the control of negative emotions, to be so fickle, to be so weak, to be so sensitive, to be so fragile, that we need so many things to be happy and to be well. It needs so little to upset us. So I'm fed up with this kind of mind. I want to get out of samsara. And then the trust that it's possible to attain the goal, because the Buddha shows us that path that leads to that goal. And there's many different paths also. Doesn't mean we have to practice all of them, but we have to find which is the right one for me. And a very happy, a very joyful mind. Okay, I'm not so well, I'm in samsara, I'm under the control of negative emotions, but I am about to practice a perfect cure here. All I need to do is trust, so then it will work. And the trust at the beginning can be a totally open, just do it. Enough trust that we will do it. That's enough at the beginning. So we take refuge, which is at the bottom of page 5. And this we say together. I forever take refuge in Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, and in all the three vehicles, in the dakinis of secret mantra yoga, in the heroes and heroines, in the empowering goddesses and the bodhisattvas, but most of all, I take refuge in my holy Guru forever. I forever take refuge in Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, and in all the three vehicles, in the dakinis of secret mantra yoga, in the heroes and heroines, in the empowering goddesses and the bodhisattvas, but most of all, I take refuge in my holy Guru forever. I forever take refuge in Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, and in all the three vehicles, in the dakinis of secret mantra yoga, in the heroes and heroines, in the empowering goddesses and the bodhisattvas, but most of all, I take refuge in my holy Guru forever. By the way, yesterday I didn't say, do you know what the three vehicles are? What?
The scopes, the small one, middle one, and the big one.
So what's this?
Mahayana is the big vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
When your aspirations are to free all sentient beings.
Okay.
The middle one is to get to nirvana, I think, right?
Yeah. And the lowest one
And the lowest one
is a good rebirth. So that would not be that.
that's not that?
No.
Vehicles?
You are right that, even as a Mahayanist, you practice the practices of the lower scope, which is precious human rebirth, impermanence and death, karma and refuge. Okay? That would lead you to a good rebirth, but that should never be your intention. But the three vehicles are the Shravakayana and the Pratyeka Buddha vehicle and the Bodhisattva vehicle. So the Buddha taught, these are three goals. The first two ones are Hinayana goals. The solitary the hearer, the Shravaka, and the Pratyeka Buddha, the solitary realizers. Yeah? So these are people who attain Buddhahood, the hearers when a Buddha is there. They hear the teachings, they go on the path. So that is valid. Yeah? So we take refuge in that also. They're also Buddhas, even though they're like Hinayana Buddha, Theravadin Buddha, or founder vehicle Buddhas. Yeah? The Pratyeka Buddhas are the people who have heard the teachings before, then in one life they go off and become solitary realizers. But they disappear, they go into what is called nirvana without remainder. And then it's the third vehicle, which is the Bodhisattva vehicle, where you attain non-abiding nirvana, where you come back again and again and again and again until everybody is liberated. Then you have the tantric vehicle, which is not in these three vehicles, that is separate. This is why you also take refuge in the dakinis of secret mantra yoga, in the empowering goddesses and goddesses, in the deities. Yeah, so basically you take refuge here in 4 vehicles. But when they talk about 3 vehicles, and not many people know that because they always think it's like Hinayana, Mahayana, Tantrayana, but it's not. Yeah? Okay? It's the Shravakayana, the Pratyeka Buddha vehicle, and then the Bodhisattva vehicle.
What is the second vehicle?
Pratyeka Buddhas, solitary realizers.
They're like arhats.
Not yet. They are arhats, yeah. Both of them are arhats, but through different ways. So it says like the Shravaka arhats, they have attained liberation through studying and practicing the Four Noble Truths. And usually it says that the Pratyeka Buddhas, they practice the 12 links. This is how they attain liberation.
So basically the three vehicles is a method of practices.
Yeah, how you attain nirvana. Yeah, and the goal is different. I mean, for the arhats, the goal is the same, but for the bodhisattva, the goal is different. My enlightenment in order to bring everybody else to enlightenment. This is why sometimes it's called Hinayana Mahayana, not because it's easier or anything like that, because the goal is a smaller goal than, but it should never be. This is why you take refuge also in the lower vehicles, so that you don't look down on them as a bodhisattva. Yeah, that happens very often, that people say, oh, you know, these Hinayana people. Yeah, many of these Hinayana people have more compassion than the Mahayanists, you know, because also, you know, now it's like Tibetan teachers starting in Vipassana groups doing things together, because when it comes down to Mahamudra and Dzogchen, Vipassana people are much more suited to do that, because the so-called Mahayanists, they don't really practice shamatha. They don't really practice calm abiding. When Vipassana groups, there's a lot of sitting going on. Yeah? So it happens more and more that Mahamudra Mahamudra is being taught in Vipassana groups, and the Mahamudra Tibetan teachers, they go like, wow, these people are much more suited. Doesn't matter, Goenka, Christopher Titmus, Tovana, whatever. Whatever. Sitting. Long hours of sitting.
No, it's okay. You gave me an answer to something I was asking within myself.
Okay. Okay, sitting, yeah. Doesn't matter under which flag it goes, kind of thing. Okay. So let's take one more time refuge. And you really think I take refuge in all the methods that the Buddha taught. I forever take refuge in Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, and in all the 3 vehicles, in the dakinis of secret mantra yoga, in the heroes and heroines, in the empowering goddesses and the bodhisattvas, but most of all, I take refuge in my holy Guru forever. So if you want to purify, there's these 4 powers, the power of regret, then the power of support, which half of the power of support we did, which is like taking refuge. The other half is generating bodhicitta. What is very important is the power of regret, and then at the end, the power of determination. What we need in order for it to work is that we give the Buddha the power that they can purify our negative karma if we generate the power of regret and the power of determination. So these 4 things need to go together, otherwise it's not working. So the power of regret, again, it's not guilt, it's not shame, it's just the thought, these negative actions I've done in the past, they're not skillful, they don't give me what I want to have or what I want to be, therefore I regret having done them. When you see, when we understand that a consequence from an action is not what we want, we generate regret. We don't need to go into shame and guilt. We just say, gosh, I was stupid, it's okay. If I would have known, I wouldn't have done it. This kind of, it is intense, yes, but it's not kind of, it's not dwelling in the past. It just goes, I understand negative actions don't make me happy nor others. Yeah? I shouldn't have done them. Whatever I've done in the past, I regret. I understand they're not helpful. So first recall the definition of negative karma. Any action that results in suffering, usually an action motivated by ignorance, attachment, or aversion. So we trust the Buddha that all of these actions lead to unsatisfactoriness and the 3 kinds of suffering. So with the regret comes wisdom. They're not useful. Not judging yourself, not destroying yourself for having done them. That's again just ego play, is going too far. Then that one is quite strong. Almost every action I do 24 hours a day is motivated by worldly concerns, attachment to the comfort of this life. So again, just really watch in daily life. Maybe not while we're sitting here, but in daily life. What is the motivation? What is the engine, the motor behind our actions? It is to be comfortable. And that is based on self-concern. It is like this from birth to death in this life, and has been like that from beginningless rebirth. Nearly every action I have ever created has been non-virtuous, the cause of suffering. So it doesn't mean, I mean, we do positive actions, but we do them also mixed with self-concern. And we do them for the comfort of this life. So it just leads to more samsara. If we do positive actions like this, then it leads to very good samsara, but it's still samsara. What leads out of samsara is actions you do with renunciation, bodhicitta, and a wisdom of emptiness. So how many of our spontaneous actions we do with that kind of underlying understanding? Not so many. So not only that, but continuously I also have been breaking my pratimoksha, bodhisattva and tantric vows. Worst of all, I have created the heaviest of negative karmas in relation to my virtuous friends, getting angry at them, generating wrong views, having non-devotional thoughts towards them, harming their holy body and disobeying their advice. So yesterday we talked about this, a bit of a cultural thing, because gurus in Asia, in the East, are regarded as very, very high beings, because they kind of make it possible for us to attain enlightenment. Now, we Westerners, we don't have the same approach. Still, we have to be careful when we kind of, deal with gurus or teachers. Yeah. So again, it's your mind who is creating the karma. So the higher you look at your teacher, the heavier the karma you create when you are kind of making fun of them, when you get angry at them, and so on. And here we talk about the root guru, okay? Not just anybody who teaches you Dharma. Not everybody who teaches you Dharma becomes your guru. It's not like that. So having these negative imprints on my mental continuum is unbearable. It is as if I've swallowed a lethal poison. I must practice the antidote right away and purify all these negative karma immediately without a second's delay. So in this way, generate strong feelings of urgency and regret. Just a thought, I really need to do something about this. So then the urgency comes even stronger when we think about impermanence and death. Many people my age or younger have died. It's a miracle that I'm still alive and have this incredible opportunity to purify my negative karma. Death is certain, but its time is most uncertain. If I were to die right now, I would definitely be born in the lower realms. Because I could not practice Dharma, and there I would remain in the because I could not practice Dharma there, I would remain in the lower realms for countless eons. Therefore, how unbelievable fortunate I am to be able to purify my negative karma right now without even a second's delay by practicing the Vajrasattva meditation recitation. So then again, there's an experience, there's a sensation that you feel in your body that comes with understanding what is being said here. If you have the right motivation, a good understanding of emptiness, and we do this with bodhicitta, you know, this practice becomes so powerful if we trust it, if we do it, and if we trust it. But if we're not open to the blessings of the Buddhas or the purification of Vajrasattva, nothing goes in. So when the urgency, wanting to do it, the regret, kind of the fear of this negative karma ripening, when that comes together with the trust in our own potential to be pure, the trust in the Buddha's teachings that nothing exists from its own side, when that comes together, then it works. So we might have forgotten about bodhicitta again, so this is why we think. But I'm not practicing this Vajrasattva purification for myself alone. The purpose of my life is to release all hell beings, pretas, animals, humans, asuras and suras, and intermediate state beings from all their suffering and its causes, and lead them to unsurpassed enlightenment. In order to do this, I must first reach enlightenment myself. Therefore, I must purify all my negative karma immediately by practicing the Vajrasattva meditation recitation. So you visualize above the crown of your head, seated upon a lotus and moon seat, are Vajrasattva, father and mother. So again, just this visualization, the lotus reminds us of renunciation, the moon disk of bodhicitta, like the compassion, and the figure of Vajrasattva with consort as wisdom, the wisdom of emptiness. Their bodies are white, each one has a face and two arms. He holds a Dorjian bell, representing method and wisdom. She a curved knife and a skull cup, also representing method and wisdom. They are embracing each other. The father is adorned with 6 mudras, the mother with 5. He sits in the Vajra posture, she in the lotus posture. The mudras are like, you know, there's the jewelry that he's wearing, and he on top of it is wearing some ash. So now, also this part, very important. So even if you don't have a guru, but you think this is my future guru, I haven't met him yet, or her, yeah? But I will meet Vajrasattva at one point. So Vajrasattva is my root guru, the holy mind of all the Buddhas, the Dharmakaya, who out of his unbearable compassion, which embraces me and all other sentient beings, appears in this form to purify me and all others. So we need to give him the power to purify us. In this way, your mind is transformed into Guru devotion, the root of all blessings and realizations of the path to enlightenment. Devotion and respect to the Gurus gives you so many blessings. But if we don't have devotion and respect, they cannot, blessing meaning they cannot influence us in a good way. Blessing means they're able to inspire us, they're able to influence us so that we do the practice. That's the blessing. Not that then we don't have to do anything anymore. It's the petrol for your car. So on a moon disk at Vajrasattva's heart stands a hung encircled by a garland of the 100-syllable mantra. A powerful stream of white nectar flows from the hung mantra garland, and I am cleansed of all sickness, spirit harm, negative karma, and obscuration. So Vajrasattva is sitting on your crown, and this. So we do the 3 purification, the one downwards, which is usually used for actions of the body, the one upwards used for actions of the speech, and then the spontaneous one used for actions of the mind. So I will say each one again, what you visualize before we do it. So the first one is downwards. So the light comes from, flows down, Vajrasattva on your crown. The light or the nectar flows down from the hung in his heart and the mantra garland, and then enters your body through your crown, and then pushes all the negativities downwards. They leave our body in the form of black smoke or dirty water through the lower doors. So it's actions of the body, negative actions of the body, which is killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. And we think like the results from these actions, the potential for these things to to fall upon us, the results are being purified, and also more important, the tendencies to repeat these actions in the future are purified. The ripening result is purified, meaning throwing us into the lower states, and the environmental result is purified, being reborn in a place where you can't practice. So we do the mantra 3 times aloud, and then we continue silently. It doesn't matter how many times, it's not so important. We do it silently, and then we go to the next visualization. If you don't know the mantra by heart, it's difficult to visualize and read at the same time. So you can, while we do it aloud, maybe you can recite with me, you read, and then for the rest of the time you visualize. Of course, if you know the mantra by heart, then you can do both simultaneously. If you lose the visualization, you feel that you lost the visualization, come back to it. Because we're not spending hours and hours on it. We do it on purpose. We do the mantra recitation, not numbers, but quality. So we do it short, so that you get into the habit of being with what is happening while you are reciting the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patishta Didyo Me Bhava Sutokayo Me Bhava Supokayo Me Bhava Anurakto Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chitanshiyam Kuruhung Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Muncha Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Om Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patishta Didyo Me Bhava Sutokayo Me Bhava Supokayo Me Bhava Anurakto Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chitanshiyam Kuruhung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Muncha Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Om Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patishta Tidyo me bhava Sutokayo me bhava Supokayo me bhava Anurakto me bhava Sarva siddhi me prayacha Sarva karma sucha me Chitanshiyam kuruhung ha 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 o Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajrama me muncha Vajrabhava Mahasamaya sa Om Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patishta Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patishta Tidyo me bhava Sutokayo me bhava Supokayo me bhava Anurakto me bhava Sarva siddhi me prayacha Sarva karma sucha me Chitanshiyam kuruhung ha o Bhagavan Sarva tata Vajrama me muncha Vajrabhava Mahasamaya sattva Om Pe. So the next purification is the speech. So this time, like the dirt comes out on the lower opening, on the upper openings, which is mouth, ears, and nose. So like when you pour water in a glass or in a bottle, it goes to the bottom, but then it comes, the dirt is floating on the top, and then it comes out at the top. So usually, somebody asked yesterday, how far does the light go? Like, the light goes until your upper body, not into your legs. Yeah, because also, that's the usual visualization. If it goes to the legs and it takes up some dirt from there also, by all means, you can do it. Just also let the mind a little bit free and see where spontaneously where the light goes. So maybe there's some dirt down there. It's not that it shouldn't go there, it's totally okay. But the negativities come out in mouth, nose, and ears. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatishta Tidyo me bhava Sutokayo me bhava Supokayo me bhava Anurakto me bhava Sarvasiddhi me prayacha Sarva karma sucha me Chitan shiyam kuruhung ha 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 ho Bhagavan sarvatata gata Vajrama me muncha Vajrabhava Mahasamaya sat Om Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatishta Tidyo me bhava Sutokayo me bhava Supokayo me bhava Anurakto me bhava Sarvasiddhi me prayacha Sarva karma sucha me Chitan shiyam kuruhung ha 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 ho Bhagavan sarvatata gata Vajrama me muncha Vajrabhava Mahasamaya sattva Om Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatishta Tidyo me bhava Sutokayo me bhava Supokayo me bhava Anurakto me bhava Sarvasiddhi me prayacha Sarva karma sucha me Chitan shiyam kuruhung ha 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 ho Bhagavan sarvatata gata Vajrama me muncha Vajrabhava Mahasamaya sat Om Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinopatishta Tidyo me bhava Suttokayo me bhava Supokayo me bhava Anurakto me bhava Savasiddhi me prayacha Sarva karma suchame Chitanshiyam kuru hong ha 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 Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajamame Muncha Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Om Pe. So you think, you imagine your speech totally purified, especially the tendencies to use your speech in a negative way again, like lying, slander, harsh words, and gossip. And whatever comes out of your mouth in terms of words is only of benefit, creates harmony, well-being, trust, happiness. Okay, so then the third one, this is instantaneous purification. So you can think the light again flows down, and then either when it hits your crown chakra or when it hits your heart chakra, again, whatever feels more comfortable for you, then the negative karma of the mind, like covetousness, ill will, and wrong views, is totally purified instantaneously, as if you're kind of turning on the light in a very dark room. The darkness doesn't go anywhere because it doesn't exist from its own side. It doesn't really exist. It doesn't need to go somewhere. It's just a projection of the mind. So here, when we start to understand this, poof, it just disappears. And so that's the visualization that you try to keep. Whole body fills with light. The mind itself is filled with love, compassion, and wisdom. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinopatishta Tidyo me bhava Suttokayo me bhava Supokayo me bhava Anurakto me bhava Sarvasiddhi me prayacha Sarva karma suchame Chitanshiyam kuru hong ha 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 O Bhagavan Sarvatata Vajamame Muncha Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Om Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinopatishta Tidyo me bhava Suttokayo me bhava Supokayo me bhava Anurakto me bhava Sarvasiddhi me prayacha Sarva karma suchame Chitanshiyam kuru hong ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarvatata Vajamame Muncha Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Om Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinopatishta Tidyo me bhava Suttokayo me bhava Supokayo me bhava Anurakto me bhava Sarvasiddhi me prayacha Sarva karma suchame Chitanshiyam kuru hong ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarvatata Vajamame Muncha Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Om Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Patishta Tidyo Me Bhava Sutokayo Me Bhava Supokayo Me Bhava Anurakto Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chintan Shiyam Kuru Hung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajrama Me Muncha Vajraba Ma Samaya Sattva. So then again we generate the faith and trust that we have purified, because from the crown of our head Guru Vajrasattva says, child of the lineage, your negativities, obscurations, unbroken and damaged pledges or vows have been completely purified. What can you lose if you trust it, if you believe it? What's the harm if you start in believing that you are pure now? So then we need to make a pledge or a promise. It's the power of determination or the power of resolve, sometimes it's called. Here it's called the power of restraint. So still you think your guru is there, and you're not giving this promise just to a Vajrasattva who is kind of, we don't know who he is, but we're giving this promise to the Guru, and we say, I vow never again to commit those negative actions from which I can easily abstain. So then we think, for the rest of my life, I will not do this and this and this and this, where you find it easy to abstain from. And then the actions that you find more difficult to abstain from, you go like, you promise to abstain from them for a day, an hour, a few minutes, or at least a few seconds. And then of course with time you can expand that time period. But at the beginning it's good to be realistic and to see, and so that, you know, we kind of the time frame. If you do break inside this time frame, you promised, and you just say a few mantras again. With the power of regret, the power of the object, like taking refuge, bodhicitta, power of the action, saying the mantra, doing the visualization, the power of determination, I'll be more careful in the future. I mean, you need courage to take these vows, especially the ones that you have problems, you know. Yesterday somebody said it works better for me when I make positive promises. That's fine also. When I say for one day, I will be compassionate, understanding, loving, generous. But you see, loving, compassionate, generous, this is the nature of a very clear mind. It does it automatically. What prevents it is that it's covered by negativities, by negative actions, which create karmic imprint, which then result in things that we don't necessarily want. Then again we get angry, again we create karma, and so on. But being only concentrated on our negative sides, especially for Westerners, is very dangerous, because we don't know that we have Buddha nature, we don't trust it. So then we start to identify with it. We become the negative sides. And then we have low self-esteem, self-hate, self-judgment, and all these kind of things, which are absolutely not helpful on this path to liberation and enlightenment. If you don't have the confidence that you can be good and pure, you will never get there. So Guru Vajrasattva is extremely pleased with your pledge. Vajrasattva father and mother melt into light from the bottom, from the top, into a small ball of light about the size of a marble. Comes to the crown of your head. If you feel comfortable, it absorbs into you, down your central channel, into your heart chakra. So that your not developed potential of being fully awakened and the already awakened mind of Guru Vajrasattva can become one, just, you know, melting into each other like two drops of water. because by nature they are the same. So it's not a separate guru in our heart. It's the qualities of the guru that become our qualities. And then our body becomes a Vajra body, our speech becomes a Vajra speech, only to benefit others. Our mind becomes a Vajra mind, with the only intention for existing is to benefit others. Purpose of life is to benefit others. And then we need to seal the practice with an understanding of emptiness, that when we look at the ultimate side, at the ultimate level or ultimate truth, which is emptiness, in emptiness there is no I, creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. There is no negative karma created. Negative karma, or karma in general, can only be created when we think that object and other people exist separate from my mind. So an enlightened being doesn't create any karma, because they don't have this misconception. So then we dedicate also with an understanding of emptiness. It's page 9 at the bottom. Due to all these merits of the 3 times, collected by all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, myself, and all other sentient beings, which appear to be real from their own side, but which are empty, may I, who appears to be real but is empty, achieve Guru Vajrasattva's enlightenment, which appears to be real but is empty, and lead all sentient beings who appear to be real but are totally empty to that enlightenment which appears to be real but is empty by myself alone, who appears to be real but is also totally empty, non-existent from my own side. May the precious bodhicitta, the source of all happiness and success, for myself and all other sentient beings, be generated within my own mind and in the minds of all sentient beings without even a second's delay, and may that which has been generated be increased. May I and all other sentient beings have Lama Tsongkhapa or Guru Rinpoche, if you're from another tradition, as our direct Guru in all our lifetimes, never be separated for even a second from the pure path that is greatly praised by the conquered Buddhas, and actualize the complete path, the 3 principal paths, and the 2 stages of highest Yoga Tantra, the root of which is Guru devotion, within our minds as quickly as possible. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra realize things as they are, I dedicate all these virtues in the best way that I may follow after them. Whatever dedication of the 3-time victorious ones gone to bliss have admired as best, in the same way, I also perfectly dedicate all these roots of virtue so that I may perform good works. Okay, great. So now is lunch break until 2:30. So it's 1 hour and 20 minutes. Yeah.